Chief engineers often find themselves acting captain in the absence of real captains. My engineer is inexperienced and can't do the supermatter engine, so I tell them to set up solar panels while I take over captain roles. Delegating tasks is important as a leader. As acting captain, you have the combination to the safe holding the captain's all-access ID card. You need this card to handle your duties. Your first and really only duty is to go to captain's quarters and secure the nuclear disk. If you don't secure this, eventually your station will die. Trust me. You also have the ability to make station announcements, and you can say pretty much whatever. I like to try to build rapport with my fellow crew by addressing them as fellow people. Early into the shift, a bomb exploded medbay. I informed the chief medical officer of the dire situation. First and foremost, the pinpointer that tracks the nuke disk must be distributed to the CMO as a fellow command staff. As an experienced leader, he understands what is meant by me just giving it to him, where it lets him find the disk if I go missing, because a loose disk will destroy the station eventually. A rapid construction device is needed to restore medbay to a basic usable level, and I agree to provide this. But this early into the shift, engineering's protolath does not have the blueprints to print an RCD. I message the scientists telling them to research this tech. I keep the CMO informed of the RCD situation, because open communication is important during leadership situations. The more immediate problem, however, is an assistant breaking into engineering to steal stuff. I take out my baton and prepare to confront him, but he takes out the trash by shoving himself into a trash chute just as I hit him. I hit the trash disposal unit for good measure. I'm obviously not too pleased about this situation, so I send a DM to the detective telling him to set this assistant to the station's wanted list for breaking into my department. Solar panels are set up for secondary energy production, and the supermatter engine was turned on, but there's no modifications to it to make it run more efficiently, so I'm now carrying out those steps. Welding the interior airlock is just an extra safety step. The engine can be turned on without using any hands whatsoever, but most engineers modify the setup to make it more efficient. The engine is a cycle between pumping in cool gas to the core and pumping out hot gas from the core. You can replace the pressure pumps with normal pipes to increase the speed at which gas is exchanged. Space Station 13 physics inaccurately portrays space as being cold rather than an insulating vacuum. Regardless, this code means gas exposed to space becomes cold, so the heat exchanger can be likewise improved by removing the pressure pumps. Gas in a pipe without interrupting pumps travels instantly, so this entire line of gas is cooled immediately by replacing the pressure pumps with normal pipes. I put in a volume pump to slow down the speed at which gas leaves the cooling radiator section. But in hindsight, I believe this is an inefficiency you can disregard. For similar reasons, you can remove this other pressure pump. Besides slowing things down, the problem with pressure pumps is that they fail when the output pipe exceeds 4,500 kilopascals. So when the engine fails and things heat up, you actually don't want pumps as their additional failure points. You want to replace these pumps with normal pipes, so when the pressure increases, your cooling loop has a greater tolerance of failure. Similarly, the set of pipes leading to an artificial cooling system shouldn't have pressure pumps either. You want the cooling machines connected to your cooling loop rather than separated by pressure pumps. If your cooling loop is too hot, you won't be able to pump cooler gas into it if you separate it with a pump. And that's pretty much it as far as making easy enhancements to the engine is concerned. If you use something other than pure nitrogen to cool the engine, you can generate more power, but further cooling modifications may be required. Also worth noting is you can produce more exotic gases by using something other than nitrogen, so the engine is also a tool for creating weird atmospheric stuff. While patrolling the station as acting captain, I encounter a plasma flood. I notify the crew not to panic using the announcement system. I return to the plasma-flooded area to discover some local panic has set in. An Engiborg is already assisting with putting out the fire, and I use my advanced fire extinguisher to put out the fire more efficiently. The situation is more or less contained. This is how it feels to be on the other side of it, I guess. I ensure the air scrubbers are set to filter out the contaminants quickly, but this is more or less a manageable problem. Overall, this is a good crew, and they do a good job of de-escalating the situation. While I'm checking up on atmospherics, radio chatter begins to report a blob sighting. The blob is a potential game-ending threat. I ask the other command staff to confirm the blob's existence. This is confirmed, and I first tell the engineers to prepare the emitters for deployment against the blob. Delegation is important in a leadership position because even if your staff is twice as dumb as you are, 3 stooges working on a problem will still do better than one of you. Similarly, I also make use of the station's announcement system. A quick trip through the library provides me all the proof I need. The blob is indeed present between the library and the med bay. It's time to announce to the station that the blob is confirmed present and where it is. Keeping everybody in the loop with a concise message helps ensure that the crew know what's going on and what to do. I announce that I will open the armory for the crew as well. But the armory is already opened up. It is perhaps a disregarding of my authority as acting captain to open it up without my orders, but also a forgivable act given the circumstances. My role as a leader is to delegate and support the crew. To that end, we know the crew has laser guns. What will they need next? They'll need the charger on this desk to recharge their guns every 10 shots or so. I unwrench the head of security's charger and drag it with me towards the blob. The localized plasma floods are still flaring up like a recurrent case of the clap. I help put out this fire to keep traffic moving smoothly. Medbay is so far chaotic but unbreached. This isn't the best location for the charger because the fight is not here currently. The fight is still going on southwest of Library. At this point, it's a judgment call. You don't want the charger too close to the blob, but less travel time means the crew can return to the fight more quickly. That said, even a little far away is a huge improvement compared to having no charger at all. I wrench the charger in place. I announce to the crew the existence of this charger and that I will install more. I am not alone in bringing chargers to the theater of action. I'm not sure if they're installed or not correctly, and there's empty laser guns. Regardless, no need to bring more sand to this beach. The other more pressing concern is the continual plasma fires popping up. I fight these flames more as well. My priority as captain is now changing. I tell engineering to focus on fighting the fires. I realize the general sabotage and/or incompetence of the station could be the bigger threat than the blob, because these flames will not harm the blob greatly, but will interfere with the crew's access to it. Truly, we are all our own worst enemies. This simple fact is driven home further by the flames spreading in Library. We now have crew members on fire, helping spread the fire further. This isn't great. In fact, it's pretty bad. It's downright moronic, and getting worse by the minute. I help put them out, so at least they won't keep running and setting more rooms on fire for a few moments. The hallways outside themselves are aflame also. The chief medical officer is working on keeping the fires out, and a bomb shakes the station. Hopefully that wasn't aimed at the blob. Don't throw bombs at the blob. I return to atmospherics and berate a technician who isn't fighting. This insect tells me there's a problem with plasma in the air pipes, and it's trying to fix it. I end up letting it do its own thing. Sometimes you have to let people work autonomously as a leader. Given the problems with fires, it's time to break out the big guns. The backpack firefighter tank. It not only extinguishes flames, it also shoots resin which cools down hot areas and seals hull breaches. Very useful in these circumstances. I launch a resin ball at the fire raging in the command hall. I return to the scene of combat, where other crew are also extinguishing the flames. While I have the more powerful firefighting equipment, my problem is now getting direct access to the fire itself. In fact, I misfire the resin. It doesn't hit the flames, and it will soon block the crew a little bit. Nice. In fact, one of the moths is a big fan of my strategic placement of this resin sticking him into one place. I'm also out of resin, so I can't do more. Well, I heard you like fires, so I decided to set you on fire too, moth friend. I refill my fire tank at the water tank parked in the hallway. An Engeborg is finally bringing an emitter from the engine to start attacking the blob with. Another explosion rocks the station. A crew member also dies in front of me. It won't be the last. The stakes are obviously high when fire is involved. We've already lost one crew member. You have to be prepared as captain to have your crew die in service of the greater good. I even decide to attack the blob directly given this opening, but a blob zombie hits me in return. It's not worth the risk of fighting alone because my corpse could be possessed by the blob. More explosions go off. What is going on? A brief ordering of the Engeborg is interrupted by a new fire. His suggestion to bomb the blob is a bad suggestion. The fire engulfing us is a bad proposition also. This time, however, my resin shot is true and honest. It's not perfect, but it helps stamp out a lot of the fire. Another Engeborg brings more emitters to the fight. Very good. What's not good is the next explosion that rips the station. I can only wait helplessly as the server catches up to the explosive consequences of this bomb going off. Spoiler, it's not good. I'm back on my feet and putting out a little of the inferno, but it becomes clear soon that the entire medbay lobby is a hole open to space. This is a bad thing. The spacesuit storage doors get opened, and I lob another resin wad at the breach to try to get a minimal safety margin for the crew in place. To a certain extent, anarchy reigns. One of my crew is on fire, and I doom him to die by blocking his path with my emitter. These are the hard decisions leadership requires. He crawls through the ruined, breached remains of Medbay, and ultimately perishes on top of the body of another burnt-up crew member. But in the end, I manage to wrench down and weld securely the emitter. It turns on, and it begins cutting into the blob like a buzzsaw. The crew member died so that he would not inconvenience this task. It is just one person, but I ended his existence. In that sense, I am the ender of worlds. Judge me not, lest you too be judged. You spectators, you side-glancing non-participants. You have no position to make these calls from. I put in a request for additional water tanks given the inferno raging to the west. A stalwart crew member provides me the high-quality water I require to refill my backpack. I put it to use on the fire raging in the library with a resin bomb. There will be no book burning on my station. Fueled by the treachery of invasive blobs and hidden traitors, I lob another resin bomb at the fire to help provide protection for my crew. And it's at this point the cavalry arrives. Cargo, having gone ahead and ordered the laser guns and arranged for the security personnel to unlock the crates, has come through with a fresh arsenal to attack the blob and put an end to this eternal menace plaguing station society, once and for all. Friendly fire nails me, but it is the risk that comes from leading at the front. Suffer not the existence of the blob, for it is an eternal blight. Entire walls of this station section have been eliminated and destroyed. It is unfortunate, but in the end we have triumphed against the threat. The station is of course complete garbage, with fires ranging in its main traffic areas. Victory against the blob is Pyrrhic at best, but essential for survival. The blob menace has been exposed and weakened to the point where mere bats and batons are capable of setting it back severely, as all such divergent life forms deserve. And in the end, something as simple as a wooden bat puts an end to its very core, leaving the remaining vestiges of blob just an empty corpse to be mopped up. The threat is over, the station is saved. Perhaps I helped? I at least did not hinder. The station, of course, is a complete disaster, but we have an evac shuttle to take us home to safer spaces. It is here I board with the surviving crew. We have endured much. We have made sacrifices. Many of us just wanted a simple shift, of just testing out new engines or perhaps a new turbine burn mix. Did I make the right decisions as leader? It is hard to say. I perhaps contributed to deaths of some, but helped keep others alive. As I await evac by shuttle, I reflect upon the inner blob that lives within all of us. The destructive forces of the world must be fought against to preserve a semblance of society.